What's up, everybody? We are the Three Amigos in a Podcast, episode 20. We're joined here during our intro with our good friend Matt. He's where are you living now, Matt? Connecticut?
I'm in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Wow,
nice.
Look at that.
But Matt had some good news this weekend. He got engaged. That's exciting.
Woo! Congratulations.
So,
nice, guys.
You don't seem as excited as we are for being excited for you.
No, I'm super pumped, obviously.
So when's the big day?
Very excited.
You guys set a date yet, or are you still, what's going on?
We're still thinking about it. We're just taking one step at a time. But yeah, probably sooner rather than later, maybe mid next year or something like that. But
sweet.
Have a lot of talking to do, a lot of organizing to do.
Yeah. Well, take us through the day. Take us through the engagement. What was going on?
All right. Yeah. So she lives in Texas, part-time, and I'm fairly close in location to our house in Maine, like family camp up in Maine. So I brought her up to the camp last Saturday, and during the day I surprised her with rose petals leading out to the point right there on the lake, and some candles and some champagne, and
nice.
I had a camera set up. A hidden camera to record the occasion.
All right, peeping Tom.
And asked the question, and went out to dinner and met with family. It was a pretty good, pretty solid, intimate day.
Nice, man. That's
very
exciting.
nice.
Yeah. Well, congratulations again.
The photos looked great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're a real hunk of man meat in those photos, man.
Ooh.
Oh,
got
man.
that good stubble.
Man, there's nothing about this conversation. It's okay.
What's up, Brian?
It's just so much weird going on.
So much.
It's making Ryan uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, Matt is I don't know, you've kind of been an East Coast guy, even though you've grown up in San Diego your whole life. Big Red Sox fan. How you thinking they're looking during that series?
They're looking good. I missed last game. I missed the game yesterday. But yeah, they're in the fourth inning right now, bottom of the fourth. They're looking pretty good. They're down by one, but I'm hoping that they win it. I'll knock on wood, but it'd be pretty awesome to make it to the Boston Parade in a couple weeks or in a week if it happens.
Pretty close.
But we'll see.
Have you ever been to one of those parades?
No, never. But I've
we're Padre fans.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Brandon's I don't know. Maybe he just showed up to one. I don't know. You said it like you had experience or something.
No, I'm asking him because he's a big Red Sox fan. They've won several times. So
yeah, it's like going to the Pats. When the Patriots win, and there's all the people in Boston. Yeah.
Was that
but
technical?
If they do win, it'd be
he's so happy for you. He's so happy that you got that World Series, Super Bowl, and
just too many rings we're talking about right now.
Stanley Cup,
too many rings,
and
Bruins might win it this year,
all those NBA Finals trophies.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I mean, David Price kind of surprised me this postseason.
Yeah, he looks good.
Usually, he has such a bad track record.
Yeah, Kershaw looked like his typical self yesterday.
I thought Kershaw looked pretty good.
He had 5 runs.
Those extra reps didn't pay out for him. He really didn't. He's hungry for that ring.
He's just got no zip on the ball anymore.
He's getting older.
He's getting old. But
well, he's a finesse guy. He kind of has always been a finesse guy where he's locating good movement.
Yeah. Well, Matt, how's the East Coast treating you? You've been out there 5 months now? 4 months?
Only 2 months.
I was like, Dan's got no sense of time whatsoever.
I have a terrible sense of time.
It feels like 5 months. No, but it's pretty good. The apartment, I got a nice little duplex, like a townhome. It's working pretty well, and Ailish is loving it here. I got a nice backyard. And yeah, the job is interesting. It's keeping me busy, and still a lot to learn to really get into the rhythm. But yeah, pretty happy out here. It's nice.
How's the weather?
Definitely come out and visit. Today it's 45. It's 45 out.
Oh god, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse, too.
Yeah, dude, it's only October.
Is it 45 and sunny, though, or?
Yeah, it's it rains every other day. I'm really not selling it. But yeah, it's
But he loves it.
Yeah, come out and visit me. It's awesome. Gloomy all the time.
It's 40 degrees, and I haven't seen the sun in a week.
Yeah. Come out middle of January, and you'll love it.
I just spoke to somebody in Ohio today who said it's 50 and sunny. I thought that was just a really weird concept to be 50 degrees and sunny out.
Dude, I've been in negative 40 and sunny. I get it.
Come out.
It just seems weird to me.
You see the sun
from San Diego. Yeah, that's why.
You see it. It's just you don't feel it.
We're spoiled out here. Sunny and 60, and we're like, ooh, it's starting to get a little cold outside.
God, yeah, enjoy it every day. Don't take it for granted.
When it's 50, man, I gotta have full coverage.
Oh yeah.
Well, Matt, if you need any advice on how to keep your sanity through the engagement, don't call me because I don't know.
Ryan's our resident engagement.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding. If you need any help, man, let me know. I practically planned our wedding.
The best part about this is now we get we're going to give 2 bachelor parties relatively soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
And then the third one once Dean
Brandon gets engaged.
No, Dean gets engaged.
I beat you to it. I said it first, so that means you have to do it first.
Yeah, no one thought I'd be next.
No.
Well,
I don't even think the Vegas odds were on the board.
Stupid. But I don't gamble.
Whatever. But Matt, again, congratulations, man.
We're glad.
Super excited for you, dude. That's awesome.
Thank you, fellas.
Yeah, and when you talk to Jess, tell her we said congratulations as well, and
I will.
Hello. But all right, Matty, we'll let you get to bed since it's like 10 o'clock over there.
You know he's watching the rest of the Red Sox game, though.
You watching the rest of it, or you?
I'm not watching the rest. I was probably gonna hit it bed around 10, like 10:30.
Which is like
it's like now, right?
20 minutes from now.
Oh, okay.
That's almost an hour. Yeah. That's 50 minutes away.
Yeah, it
is 9:40.
Yeah, so 20 minutes until 10.
Oh, I thought you said 10:30. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah,
that's basically all we're doing is arguing for the next hour. So
all I know is if the Padres were in the World Series, we'd be staying up for the whole thing.
Yeah, it would also, only be
time
6:40 at night.
Yeah, the time zone would favor us heavily.
Hey, I'm trying to guilt him into staying up for the whole game.
Dude, I'm definitely not. It's not gonna be up till like 11 or 12.
What about if it goes to Game 7? You gonna stay up late for that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool.
All right.
Well, you stay up for Game 7 and you call in the next day. It's the rule.
Yeah, I do have a couple sick days that I haven't used.
Save them up, man. You're gonna need them.
You're gonna need them.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
All right, man. Well, it was great talking to you again. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. It's good hearing you guys' voice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Let us know when you're going to be out here again. I don't know.
It's been a while for me.
I don't know if we'll be in Connecticut anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not. But I'll be home for Christmas break, from like the 23rd to the 30th.
Oh, nice. I'll still be here. I leave the 25th.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, so it's like before.
You're leaving on Christmas Day?
Yeah. Flights are so cheap.
Oh, on Christmas Day.
That sounds awful.
It's great, dude. You get free drinks or a free drink.
I mean, Santa Claus flies on Christmas Day, right?
Everybody's super nice. Dude, it's great.
Yeah, I'm sure flight attendants love it.
I mean, I'm sure that their schedules are jacked up anyways. I've never had a problem with it. Everybody's always super nice on Christmas. I mean, we normally we'd work in the morning and then fly out in the evening. It's hard to be 2 places at once for Christmas.
Yeah, where are you going for Christmas? Back
Indiana.
To
Indiana, yeah.
Okay.
My whole family's coming out there too. We have our co-ed shower.
Sounds so.
Okay.
I know. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be great.
This is being recorded. It's gonna be fun.
Well, Matt, thanks for joining us on the podcast, man.
Enjoy the game.
All right, later.
Yeah, have a good night, guys. See ya.
See ya.
Are you guys ready?
Let's do this.
Let's start the show.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Lights, camera, action.
And shout out Matt. Congratulations again, Matt and Jess, on the engagement. Little news for you guys. We got verified on Google as well as Bing and Pinterest.
Nice.
So anytime anybody Googles Three Amigos in a podcast, we will show up. Links to iTunes and Spotify and wherever every podcast is gonna be there. And Ryan, where else can they listen to us on podcasts?
Man, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are on Podbean. We are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, YouTube, and you can always check us out on our website at 3amigosandapodcast.wordpress.com.
Nice.
Jeez, man. Dude.
Well said.
That was really good. That was a really good read.
Thanks, guys. I've been practicing.
How was your guys' weeks?
It was busy.
Busy?
It was a busy week.
Yeah, what'd you got going on?
Work.
All I
What
do
you
is
working with?
work.
Brandon, what'd you do?
Well,
Well, you came over and helped me.
yeah, I came
Help me
over. We're kind of been working at Dean's house. This is my first time coming over. Kind of spent Sunday watching football, kind of doing a little bit of work on the house as opposed to just sitting in front of the TV watching for the first half. I usually watch the day games and then start doing stuff after that. But, it's better than just being completely unproductive.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, thanks
Well,
for coming over.
I did wake up and watch the Charger game, so I did that.
Nice. The Chargers with the W.
Yeah.
Yep, 6:30 in the morning, man.
We'll talk
Yeah,
about that one.
we'll get into that game a little bit when we cover the NFL. But also last week, we completed the Hang
yeah.
Challenge from the over there at the All Bad Podcast.
Oh.
Called us out.
I'm impressed with us. So I thought we did a decent job.
I thought we did good too.
I don't know if it was just the bar was smaller or what it was, but it felt like we held up pretty well.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
held
I
up
was
pretty
impressed
good,
with
yeah.
both you guys.
And
Yeah,
you, I mean, we all did pretty long.
Yeah, we all did at least a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Which
so-
is, I mean, I tried to do it at the gym before, and it was, I could barely make it a minute. But
Specifying that we are talking about the hang challenge here when we're hanging from a pull-up bar. I just wanted to make sure our listeners understand that.
Are we going to be releasing that video or?
yeah, the video, we're trying to put it up on Instagram. It's on our website, so you can go check that out too. 3amigosandapodcast.wordpress.com. It's pretty fun. Brandon's cracking me up though at the end.
Yeah, it's so funny.
He texted me after. He goes, "I don't remember yelling and laying down on the ground."
Yeah.
I was like,
He
"What
was
did you
screaming
black
at the
out?"
bar. I don't know if we got that part, but there was one point like a minute and like 15 in, and he just started yelling. I was like, "Oh!"
The funny thing is, I don't remember that.
Dude, my
Well, and he went first, and I was like, "I don't want to do this." No,
yeah, you made it look miserable. I was like, Jesus.
Well, it might have been a little bit of a sell job because I thought it was going to be harder than it actually was. Because I was watching
That's what she
these,
said.
I was watching these videos, and there's these like super ripped dudes who are going up there doing it, and they can't do it 100 seconds. And so when I was up there and I did 100 seconds, I thought it just kind of,
Dude,
just
you know what I
seemed
just
weird.
thought of right now was that on the All Bad podcast, James said that he would give $100 to anybody that could do it for 2 minutes. So he owes me $100 because I did over 2 minutes. So
Oh,
James,
well-
if you're listening, I will take that in cash.
I will try it again
Not
for
dollar
2 minutes,
bills.
and I will get my $100.
Yeah. But also yesterday, that Mega Millions jackpot hit, $1.6 billion.
Yeah, somebody's day got significantly better.
Yeah. So I guess it was a sole winner, and like South Carolina or something like that decided to take all the money. It's 930 something million.
Well,
It's-
I'm taking all that money straight up from the beginning, anyways, as opposed to getting it fed.
Yeah,
to
they
me.
pay it out like over a span of 30 years or something
Yeah,
like that.
I would
it
not
is.
want
I wouldn't
that.
want that. I'd
Yeah.
want it all at the same
The
time.
only person who should want that is somebody who's really stupid with their money.
Yeah. So what would you guys buy? I know, obviously, like, well, I'd invest it or I'd buy a house.
You're-
No. I mean, like, you have
The
that much
Chargers.
money. You'd buy the Chargers?
Oh,
Yeah.
I would approve. I'd be a fan after
I'll
that.
be a fan again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll actually have jobs too. I'm sure he's gonna hook us up with a job.
All the crap you've been talking about the Chargers. Like, I don't know, man.
Hey, well,
We're back on board.
You'd have to do
I would
some
show up at
serious
your house
sucking
with a
up.
Charger jersey on and be like, hey, look, Ryan.
Come on, Ryan. Take
I've
us
been a
there.
fan all along.
I'm here to work, man. I'm here to work.
Uh,
No,
dude,
but I think, I mean, you investing is obviously like something that people just say to, oh yeah, invest my money. Like you're gonna buy something.
Well, I mean,
you have that much money.
It would be hard to buy it. You couldn't buy a team with that kind of money because you're gonna lose half of that in taxes for the most part. But still,
No, that's that.
Well, and I don't think anybody would.
935 million is the after taxes.
Yeah,
How much?
935 million is after taxes. 1.6
I thought it was like
billion.
1.
it was 1.3 billion.
Yeah,
or
so-
No,
1.6.
1.6.
So
1.6
still
billion.
less than a bill. I mean, you have to buy a pretty small franchise, but still, and that would use up all of your money. But
Yeah,
Yeah, but at the same time, that money makes you money.
yeah.
oh,
you know,
certainly,
so-
yeah. You'd be the Dean Spanos of owners, where
Nah.
you'd have no money outside of owning.
Don't
the
compare
team.
me to that jackass.
Dude, I was thinking about it earlier. I think I would buy the zoo.
You would.
He
love the
loves
zoo.
the zoo.
You would.
I do, and I think it'd be
Fireworks
so cool.
every day.
It'd be so cool. I'd just be like, all right, you know what? I just want to hang out with the animals today. You guys don't get to come here, so I just shut the zoo down. Get to like feed the elephants and just let some animals out.
I would
in the
get
park.
like season tickets, courtside Clippers. I'd be watching every game, and I would retire.
No shit.
Yeah, no, you're going back to work the next day.
Yeah,
No way.
I am. No. Yeah, you're gonna invest some money, but you want to have some fun too with it. So
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, $900 million, you could have a whole lot of fun.
that would be.
You would really, really have to try hard to spend all that money.
How much
in your
would you
lifetime.
give your friend?
Well, you would.
Like, how much would I give you guys?
Yeah.
I'd give you guys like $10 million each.
I feel like it would be like. I don't know if I would like.
Ooh, that's what I would buy. I would buy like a house, like a cul-de-sac. I'd buy all the houses in a cul-de-sac, and then I'd knock them down, build one giant like horseshoe house, and then each of us would get a section of it. But that way we could all like live together and hang out, and we own
I would
like
just.
a whole
I would
community.
just buy all my friends that I'm super close with, because all of a sudden I'm gonna have a million fucking friends. All
I would say it
of a
would
sudden, but-
my circle would probably be this right here.
Yeah, you're like, all right, I'm buying.
I mean, obviously, like,
I'm buying them all a house, and we're all gonna live nice, and we're all gonna be neighbors, and
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. You guys,
and groceries are on you for the rest of your life.
well, put it on the card. No,
yeah, just put it on my tab.
put it on the platinum. What is the
gold or the
card that's got no limit?
it's like the black card. Or
the
whatever?
black card, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, let's get into it. NFL Week 7. It was kind of like the one stable week this week.
What about San Diego State?
Oh yeah, you want to talk about SDSU? Shout out
6-1, man.
Six straight.
Aztecs.
I mean, it wasn't a beautiful win, and it was against probably the worst team in the conference.
Oh,
but,
and 7, San Jose State. Yeah.
but they held on.
win's a win.
They were able to get the win, and yeah, I mean, it seems like they kind of played to their competition for the most part.
You know, shout out to Rocky Long. He's done a pretty good job with that school ever since, Brady Hoke left and everyone was concerned that they weren't going to be as good.
Yeah.
He does a good job of going after the middle of the road recruits that, are struggling figuring out where they're going to go, people that could sign at your Stanfords or UCLAs. And he develops his rosters for 4 years, That's how he's thinking about it. You're not looking at people that are going to be going pro after their junior year. He's developing rosters for 4 years. And my gosh, we have running backs every single year.
They lost their
yes.
running back, Jawan Washington, for the year.
Yeah.
And they're still throwing it down. Who's the new guy? Can't think of his name right now, but he's been doing a phenomenal job filling in for him. And
absolutely.
It just seems like, they had that big win against Boise State on the road. And
Agnew's been playing all right at quarterback, too,
Yeah.
and that's something that we've been struggling to find for the last few years. That's teams normally stack the box against us, and that's why we struggle. And then defensively, you're noticing a lot of these guys, too, in the NFL now. Casey with the Falcons, and then there was another guy, too. I think it's the other Casey.
Yeah.
I think both of them. So, yeah.
He's looking good on the Falcons. I saw doesn't he have 2 or 3 turnovers forced or something like that?
Yeah, it's always exciting to see local guys in the NFL.
Yeah, and it's not like we're a big football school, but they've been consistent, man. I mean, they're beating teams like Boise State, who's been up for national championships in the past.
And Hawaii lost this weekend too, so they should be among the best right now. I think they play Fresno State this week.
Yeah, Fresno State's always a good game. I know we lost last year against them, so there'll definitely be some bad blood there.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Yeah, I know college football. I mean, usually Ryan, you're pretty into it, but
it's hard this year, man.
The way the schedule's been laid out, and
Alabama just plays a bunch of crap teams. And I mean, I'll shout out to Tua.
Yeah,
I can't even. The Hawaiian dude. He hasn't thrown an interception.
The Hawaiian
this year.
yeah.
He took the job from Jalen Hurts, rightfully so. He's been playing phenomenally.
What about Kyler Murray too? He's been throwing down.
Yeah, dude. There's been some good. I mean,
he's got no future in football either. He's going to be playing for the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I know.
That's the crazy part.
The big upset this week was Ohio State lost to Purdue. It wasn't just a loss; they got their ass kicked, and they were the number 2 team in the nation. So, I mean, you're looking at another Clemson number 2, Alabama number 1. I know Notre Dame has been thrown in there. They again haven't played a whole lot of talent because they don't have a conference. We'll see, man. I really do like the 4-game or the 4-team playoff, but I mean, again, we've seen the same 2 teams, almost the same 4 in the last 3 years.
So what's the championship bracket looking like? Any idea?
Right now, it's looking like Alabama number 1, looking like Clemson number 2, Notre Dame number 3, and
Notre Dame.
And I think LSU moved back into the number 4 spot. Let me double check that real quick.
Ohio State's just done.
No, I mean, one loss isn't going to kill a team. It's a bad loss. The nice part about Ohio State is they play in a conference, so they'll end up in a conference championship game. That always ends up helping the votes out towards the end of the year when you're trying to, squeeze back in. That's what helped them get back in previous years. But yeah, I'm just double checking the rankings on this real quick.
Yeah, I mean, well, that Michigan State game, I mean, Michigan just looked real good. I don't know
Which one?
It was, LSU's number 4.
LSU's 4?
Yeah, and LSU and Alabama are going to have to play each other again next week, or they're going to have to play each other this week. Not this Saturday, the following Saturday. So it's going to be interesting, man. Texas has been playing pretty well. Georgia looks pretty good still. A bunch of SEC teams. Obviously, no love to UCF, the team who's self-proclaimed national champions from last year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of just the same old thing in football. I mean, Alabama's going to continue to roll the table because they're out there playing against St. Mary's School of the Blind every week.
Yeah, well,
it's a good little segment. We don't talk too much college football, but a little taste of some college football.
Yeah, especially when it starts to wrap up a little bit, we'll get into some previews of
draft
pick favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you get into the end of the year, when players start to solidify their roles and their place in the draft, again, I mean, other big news, I guess, was Nick Bosa decided to forego the rest of his collegiate career to prepare for the draft, and you're seeing that a lot more lately. But
so how much of that decision do you think was his brother's input?
I don't think any of it. I mean, I'm sure that
look at his holdout with the Chargers, and that was kind of the reason why he held out, is because he wanted some guaranteed money in case he got injured.
More with his dad though, because his dad had the issue.
I think it's his party. I mean, I'm sure that I know he doesn't have an agent yet, but I'm sure he's in talks with agents vicariously through his brother, and his dad and his uncle was a first-round draft pick as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good blood in that family. He's still projected as a top 5 pick in next year's draft. I mean, he's phenomenal. I don't blame him. Again, you're not paid as a college player. Obviously, you're getting a free education, but when you're looking at the numbers with that, it's nothing compared to what your signing bonus is going to be as an NFL player. So I think that there is a little bit of Joey Bosa in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're both like spitting images of each other. I mean,
yeah, and it's hard. The risk it doesn't pay off for the reward.
It's different if you're a quarterback. If you're a quarterback, they want to see how you're doing down the line in big games, because that's something that takes over more than being a defensive end.
Yeah, that's true.
As a defensive end, we've seen exactly what he can do. We know the talent's there. He just wants to get healthy. So when he's doing the NFL Combine,
he looks good.
He looks good. Yeah. So I mean, it's not going to hurt his draft stock unless somebody else comes out and shows up big time. But I don't think he's fallen out of the first 10 picks.
Yeah,
nice.
But like we said, once the season starts to wrap up, they're in week 9 now. They start a week before NFL, so yeah.
So they play
12
games, and then conference finals or conference championships, and then bowl games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, NFL week 7. It's kind of the first week I felt that was normal in the NFL. There wasn't a lot of crazy upsets or big injuries, stuff like that.
I'd say the Jags would probably be one, but
yeah, I mean, and again, it's still trying to figure out who the Jaguars are. I think we had this expectation that they were going to be a 14-2 team,
especially coming off of the season that they had last year.
AFC
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I expected them to. I mean, it doesn't look like they are who we thought they are.
Yeah, it's still they still got the second half of the season to prepare for, a little more than the second half. Hopefully they can turn it around. I mean, that division's up for grabs still. Texans are 4-3, and both the Titans and Jaguars are 3-4, so it's still wide open.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
big trades going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of big trades, but that Texans-Jaguars game, man, I don't know who the head coach is of the Jaguars, but he was pissed, dude, at that post game.
Doug Monroe?
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug Monroe. He was like, man, I would have benched the whole team if I could have.
Is it Maroney or?
I think it's Monroe.
Marone.
Whatever. Gold jacket,
Doug,
green jacket.
Gold jacket. Good old Dougie.
Good Dougie M. But yeah, man, that was crazy. But yeah, Brandon, there was a lot of big trades this week. The Raiders and the Cowboys traded. Raiders traded Amari Cooper to the Cowboys for a first rounder in the 2019 draft. Or sorry, yeah,
2019
draft.
This upcoming draft.
Yeah, so that means that the Raiders now have what, 3 first-round picks?
3 first-round picks. Yep, they have one from the Bears, one from the Cowboys, and then their own. I don't love it.
I know
for both teams.
For both teams, I think Amari Cooper is a phenomenal talent who hasn't had the consistency. Not play from himself necessarily, you know, whether it be Derek Carr, you know, remember Derek Carr was hurt majority of last year. Yeah. So his stats have kind of hindered the last 2 seasons. But he was a first round pick. He's 24 years old.
He was an early pick. He was like a top 4 pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, or top 5, something around there. Yeah. I mean, he was a very early pick and he's very talented. He's shown his value.
He has the talent, so hopefully he can go to a place that'll get him the ball and kind of open him up a little bit.
It seems like this is totally, you know, this is him just scrapping the entire team. He's like, I want to draft my own players. You know?
Yeah, it does. And Ryan, we kind of talked about it before the podcast a little bit about how from an organization or like from a fan standpoint, you see 3 first-round picks and you're like, man, we're going to be so good. We're going to accumulate this talent. But from a financial standpoint, they're not
screwing themselves over.
Like you can't do anything with that.
The point that I brought up to Dean was their whole thing with not signing Khalil Mack was that they already paid Derek Carr and they didn't want to lose out on cap space going into this offseason when they're going to be playing in Las Vegas within the next, you know, hopefully next year, but possibly the year after. But the ironic part of that is that if they hit on these top 3 picks, that's, you know, 3 contracts that they're going to have first-round players for, and that's 3 fifth-year options that is going to double the player's salary. So if they hit on them, they're going to lose all their cap space in 5 years. Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about more than
players.
You'll take that though. I mean, if you know what they're going to hit,
well, that's
you're
the
going
thing.
to have to pay that much for somebody in free agency though.
But I don't think they will be able to pay everyone. I mean, because think about where their cap space is right now. They're going to have about $70 million next year, and they still have to continue to pay people. Mm-hmm. You know, Derek Carr's contract's going to get bigger and bigger after every year. So they're kind of handcuffing themselves for the future. Like, so I understand holding on to draft picks, but first round draft picks, you know, that's a lot that you have to pay people.
Yeah, it's a lot of risk and again, it's a lot of money.
That's a huge if they hit on everybody, and the chances of them doing that are slim to none. So I mean, I don't like trading talent for potential talent.
Proven talent.
I mean, Amari Cooper, it's different. I mean, the situation wasn't working.
They had to unload him because their offense looks pretty awful.
More along the lines of Khalil Mack. I mean, you got 2 first-round draft picks back for that, but you're not going to get that value back. No, it's just not going to happen.
You're hoping you can somehow at some point land someone with a fraction of his talent.
Yeah, and that sucks because he was a guy that solidified what Raider Nation was supposed to be, and now he's out there tearing it up for Chicago.
He's turned that defense around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that whole team, Chicago looks good.
Yeah, and for the Cowboys, I mean, I personally think that they just had to up the ante a little bit because of, you know, other people offering second-round picks, and they wanted to get him. They're desperate.
They're really desperate for a top receiver.
Yeah, they don't have anything. But I think mostly it's just going to put pressure on Dak Prescott because now he has to perform. You know, the excuse has been that he hasn't had a number 1 receiver. Teams are stacking the box against him, you know, blitzing him, not allowing him time to throw. Now he has a number 1 receiver, and he has to, you know, prove his value. You know, they got rid of Tony Romo, and say what you want about Tony Romo, but he was a proven veteran in the league.
Well, hopefully people just give him time, though, because that takes a lot of time to develop that relationship with a number 1 wide receiver, especially.
The good thing is they're in their bye week, so he has time to get acclimated.
Absolutely.
They're not just throwing him into the fire.
Well, that, and from Amari Cooper's standpoint, I'm sure that he hasn't been on I know he hasn't been on an offense like this where he's going to have the full attention, possibly double teams going all game.
Yeah, he's pretty much always had a solid 1A,
like a mirrored
1B.
1, 1A, 1B.
This year it was Jordy Nelson. Previous years it was Michael Crabtree.
Exactly.
I just also think too, I was so impressed with how the Raiders were developing their roster over the last several years.
It seemed like they were on a trajectory.
You know, they drafted Khalil Mack in the same year they drafted Derek Carr in the second round. Then they go after Carl Joseph, who's, you know, had his moments of, you know, being good, and he's obviously had his moments where he's been bad, but another good safety. they've had very good draft picks, and I was very impressed with them as an organization, where they were going. And now none of those players are on their team anymore, besides Derek Carr, who, I mean, I don't know.
God knows it. It's like a fire sale over there.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, at this
they're
point,
probably going to trade him.
well, I was telling Dean, I mean, they went after A.J. McCarron, right when preseason ended, and so it looks to me like Derek Carr's not Gruden's guy.
Yeah. And Gruden is definitely that system type to be like, a Belichick, Brady.
He wants his people,
Peyton,
man. It
Brees,
doesn't look like Derek Carr's his guy.
He likes his veteran players. You notice he's going to be rolling
does.
Doug
Yeah.
Martin right now as his running back.
And we're
He
also
doesn't really
seeing
have a choice. Though.
Yeah, and we're also seeing that Derek Carr is not he doesn't do well when he's under pressure. And not just under pressure from like an offense on the field standpoint, but an off the field standpoint. Now there's pressure, and you're starting to see that boil over during games. And as a quarterback, I mean, you have to, after each drive, it's a totally new season.
You got to wipe. You got to wipe the slate. But the Giants trade away Eli Apple to the Saints for a 4th rounder next year and then a 7th rounder in 2020. I know this kind of Patrick Peterson was on the trade block, and his number 1 spot was the Saints. And it was interesting that the Saints went with Eli Apple over Peterson.
I think the asking price was right for Eli Apple, and I think the asking price for Peterson would have been too high. They already traded up in previous first rounds to get players. The year before last they drafted a offensive lineman in the late first round. They drafted Marcus Lattimore early in the first round, so they were losing some picks. So this asking price was good. Eli Apple's a first-round talent, hopefully getting out of the Giants organization and the shambles that has been in for the last 2 years will help him, prove his value as a first-round pick. But he hasn't shown his worth yet. So, again, at the end of the day, you're losing a 4th and 7th round pick, so it's a good deal for both teams. Wipe this.
Yeah,
you're
you're not giving up a whole lot, but at the same time, you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think Eli Apple's in the same talks as Patrick Peterson.
No, not
definitely.
At all. No,
So-
and he's still a young guy. It's his 2nd year in the league, so he's still got a lot to prove. The other player that they dished out later on today was Damon Harrison.
I was just going to say, sounds like they might have a fire sale over there with the Giants as well.
Yeah, I mean, at this point they have to. They're 1-6.
Yeah.
Staring down the barrel of another.
And then they just signed Odell Beckham to a huge contract to start the year.
That seems like such a waste of
I mean,
money
I
right
still
now.
understand that. If they can get a quarterback there and an offensive line, I mean, as much as we don't like Odell as a person, he's still arguably top 2
he's
talent.
so talented. I don't disagree with
He
you
might be the
there.
most talented wide
Yeah,
receiver.
But it
I would
takes a
agree.
lot to surround a good wide receiver.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's different with a quarterback. Like a good quarterback, I feel like you don't have to surround him with as much as you do a wide receiver.
Well, when you keep drafting all these wide receivers in the first round, it seems like there's you need to have more of an emphasis on other positions. You don't need Sterling
more
Shepard.
O-line.
You don't need Odell Beckham, and you don't need Evan Ingram. All these great receiving options.
yeah.
You need guys who can at least protect your quarterback or put some emphasis on the defensive end.
And they
Or
even
a
tried
run
this year.
game
Their second.
They got Saquon Barkley, but
Well, their high 2nd round pick was an offensive lineman who, again, hasn't shown any value whatsoever.
Yeah.
But again, I just, I don't hate they need something. And I think Odell Beckham, I mean, he even showed last week why they paid him. I mean, he went out there 10 catches, 140 yards. That was one player I felt like they needed to pay because now they have options. If later on the road they decide to trade him, that's totally on them. But they needed something, especially now that they're giving away all these players.
I think the one thing they need is a quarterback. I honestly think a different quarterback changes that offense.
Yeah.
That's so
I mean,
like
at least a mobile quarterback.
and we'll see, man. I mean, Tyrod Taylor's still out there, as a potential trade option. I know that they're set on having Eli Manning, but that might be because they're tanking. And possibly going after a quarterback next year. But as we've seen in the past, it doesn't always help having a 1st-round pick as a quarterback. These prospects aren't coming out like, your Peyton Mannings or your Andrew Lucks or these, highly touted prospects. I mean, Baker Mayfield has even shown that he's human. He's obviously led the Browns to a couple victories, but
tough games.
But he's a number 1 overall pick, and I think people are still expecting more from these players. So we'll see what happens with the Giants. It's going to obviously be a fire sale here. They're getting rid of a lot of people in a division that's still pretty wide open. I mean, I don't see them winning it by any means. They're 1-6 right now, but
Yeah, and the NFL trade deadline is coming up. What is it, next
October
week?
30th,
October,
yeah.
so next week, and we'll get into some rumors in our fantasy versus reality segment coming up in a little bit. But week 7, man, a lot of records broken. I know it was kind of silent, but Drew Brees comes the third quarterback to beat all 32 teams.
That was my stat of the week the one time. It was only 2 people. Now there's 3.
Now there's 3. Time to
Was
update.
it Peyton Manning and who's the other
Brett
one?
Favre.
Brett Favre.
Yeah, and then Drew Brees also threw his 500th career touchdown. Justin Tucker missed his first ever
Since high school.
Since high school?
Since high school. It was his first
gosh.
field goal he missed since high school.
His reaction was priceless, though. He was shocked.
I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm into conspiracies. NFL seems rigged.
Oh, jeez.
No,
that kick was the weirdest kick I've ever seen in my life.
There was had to have been some serious wind that day because that kick was going straight.
Yeah, that poor Ravens, man. They battled back, and to lose it with an extra point, that's not fun.
Especially on the first one.
Not damn, baby. But the Cowboys kicker also missed a field goal.
Who you'd feel worse for, them or the Chicago Bears? I don't know if you guys saw that play.
Oh, I did.
God.
No, I don't
Dude,
think I
you missed it.
The Hail Mary. Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, the Hail Mary one where he got
Mitch
stopped at like the 1?
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky
Oh,
throws up like a 40. No, it was a 55-yarder, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
He
bomb.
throws up a 55-yarder to Kevin White. Sorry, the first rounder. That's only his second catch ever in the NFL, by the way, for a early first-round pick. He catches it and he's in a scrum trying to get into the end zone and gets stopped at the 1-yard line. And this is a Hail Mary to tie the game against the New England Patriots.
Rough. I saw that play, and it was I think Josh Gordon was out there trying to bat the ball down when oh man.
So close.
That's a rough way to lose a game, man.
Yeah. But then Brandon's fantasy boy, Adam Thielen, another 100-yard game.
That's a record right now.
Yeah,
most best receiver in football right now.
7 weeks in a row, 100 yards. The receiving.
I was telling Dean, I don't know if I would give him best receiver because he's all the emphasis on Stephon Diggs right now, and it seems
taking
like
advantage of a good situation.
And it seems like he's definitely
he still put up better numbers than Stephon Diggs did last year.
Oh no, he certainly is, but he's facing the better defense.
He's saying people are shadowed towards Stephon Diggs.
I've never understood that because at this point it's like, why wouldn't you butcher better receiver or a better cornerback on Thielen?
Because he's playing in the slot though, so a lot of these guys like playing on the outside.
They're doing a good job of moving them both around though.
Yeah, I agree.
They both are equal or worthy of being a number 1 receiver on just about any team for the most part. But was it 7 straight weeks with 100 yards receiving?
It's crazy because you think about what the NFL used to be, and it was like you had one, number 1 receiver. Now it's like you need 2.
Pretty much,
you really do.
Well, you just need like that accent guy, like Brandon was saying, the 1A or 1B. Mm-hmm. But another record was broken on Thursday night, the Broncos and Cardinals.
Oh, my God.
Josh Rosen was the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 2 pick-sixes in the first quarter.
They might have also set the record for quickest reason to turn off the TV as well.
Oh, jeez.
I had zero interest in watching
Brandon
that
with the dad joke.
I was just going to say that. I was like, that was totally a dad joke. That was good, though. It was good.
That was good.
No, dude, that was a pathetic performance. honestly,
yeah, I
wasn't really hot on Rosen coming out from UCLA to start, and he's not proven anything, as the starter for the Cardinals. They're not a bad team.
He just doesn't look comfortable out there playing. You look at him, he just looks like he's uneasy at all times.
You look at the Cardinals, you get so confused why they're not doing good.
Better.
Better. David Johnson has been doing
I understand.
Larry
you have an offensive coordinator that we're all familiar with who just got let go this week.
I will say that was
true.
probably the worst called game offensively that I've ever seen.
Well, and it was instantaneous that they beat him. It was
we were talking about it when we
were
were watching the game. I was like, these offensive play calls look like a kid who's just learning how to play Madden for the first time.
Honestly, you're looking at a team that has Bradley Chubb and then Von Miller, a perennial Pro Bowler,
future
defense. You need to get that ball out quick.
Yes, and they're calling these plays to get him beat up the whole game.
So much play.
I think
action,
they had a combined 5 sacks between the two.
I don't understand why you don't get someone like Larry Fitzgerald, who's got this Hall of Fame
That's
talent.
what I'm saying.
Get him involved. He's got hands. He's
got hands. He can go across the middle. He's a big body.
So I will also retract that a little bit because obviously, Rosen's still a young quarterback and he has obviously, again, a lot to prove. But Yeah, that was the worst called game I've ever seen. And we sat through Norv Turner for how many years? God. And that by far the worst called offensive game I've ever seen. I don't know how you don't play to your strengths and why you're playing to the defenses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
That was a poor game. That was awful.
Yeah,
for prime time too.
Exactly. Yeah, but the Rams stayed undefeated this week going against the 49ers. Man, dude, the Rams, they just. Speaking of an offense that can't get going in the Cardinals, that offense cannot stop.
Jeez.
Obviously, the defense needs to step up a little bit, but still.
This week might be the toughest week for the Rams up to this point.
We'll see, man. They're playing Aaron Rodgers, but the Packers again have not looked like a good team.
I know, but you
never know with Aaron Rodgers.
It's hard to count out Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely, yeah. I totally agree with you there. It's going to be a good test week for them.
He's the X factor anytime they're involved in the game.
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah, and then Ryan, your Chargers had that London game too against the Titans. Man, dude, I don't know. Was it Mike Vrabel?
Mike Vrabel, head coach for the Titans.
First year.
That was so stupid, dude. I don't want to hate on your Chargers.
No, you're totally. I agree with you. Absolutely.
It was just, make it competitive, kick the field goal, go into overtime, give yourself a chance.
My biggest hiccup with this was that they were dominating the Chargers. I mean, in time of possession, when their offense was on the field, our defense was on the field for the majority of the game. They were running the ball. They were getting third down conversions. They were, dinking and dunking all the way down the field. It felt like I was watching the Chiefs against the Chargers from every year past for the last 5 years. But instead of going into overtime where going after a team that you've been dominating, you go for two. And it wasn't that they went for two. It was that they went for it twice.
Yeah, you went for it the first time. You get
failed.
Stuffed.
You got the penalty.
So, okay, I understand, going for it twice is a dumb move. But you look, going into the touchdown, right? They were on, it was like the 3-yard line, and I get it. You're on like a bootleg out, you score the touchdown. The second play, you go for two, or the go for two the first time, you throw the ball, and you're on the what, 2 yard or 1.5 yard line? 1.5 yard line. Mariota he hasn't been showing out all game. I felt like that pocket kept collapsing on him. He had to keep rolling out.
He should have ran it with Mariota. That's how they almost scored the touchdown. I mean,
instead of getting him out of the pocket, doing a 5-step drop, and then it's a holding call, I think, in the end zone.
Yeah,
so it goes up to the half-yard line, and you line up in shotgun.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So you're there, pound the ball in.
The play call was terrible. I mean, they obviously were playing for the run, or playing for the run. But again, it just didn't look like it was this very methodically. If you weren't watching the game, you're like, okay, go for two because you were losing the whole game. But they had all the momentum in the second half, where it was like, if this game goes into overtime, I remember I looked over at Shaylee and I was like, this game goes into overtime, the Chargers are losing. I can guarantee that, because we can't move the ball on offense and our defense cannot get off the field. So, I mean, I applaud the coach for having the confidence in his team, but the Chargers, they snuck one out, which is fine, because in previous years, that's been a game that the Chargers would lose. So
yeah, and I mean, good for the Chargers though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. Again, Phillip Rivers is looking like an elite quarterback still. He looks better this year than I've ever seen him play. So
yeah,
it's funny that you said because I didn't watch any of the game, but I kind of had followed along on it a little bit. And my thought was, I thought he was, that I applauded him for going for it on for the 2-point conversion, because like you said, they were up the entire game. It seemed like they were being outplayed by the Chargers. And
I like it, dude. I mean, you're seeing too many ties in the NFL right now. So I applaud the coach for the idea. I just think that they would have won the game in overtime.
Well, I just think give yourself a chance in overtime.
Yeah. And then also, I don't know if you guys have paid any attention to this at all, but with the new rule change on the kickoff, it is almost impossible to get an onside kick because the players can no longer run before the ball is kicked. So we haven't.
I didn't even think about it. Well, I brought up the new rule.
Yep, I didn't think about it either until it happened to the Chargers.
I didn't think about the onside kick. They can't run.
So
no momentum.
It is almost exactly. There's no momentum. You don't get any push off of the where the line forms when the ball is being picked up. So it's almost impossible to get an onside kick now in the NFL.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
Because they're lined up, and I was like,
they're lined up. They're so close.
Yeah, so watch out for these kickers doing the whole trickery thing, trying to put the ball in different positions. But yeah, I mean, they're not even lining a wall up anymore because
it was the Ravens went for an onside kick and Tucker lined the ball up, laying on its side, like the football was flat on the ground, not standing up on a tee.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran up and kicked it, and it did like a crazy spin on a line right at somebody. And they were like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen." They should have. You want the big bounce, and I'm like, "No, he wants to kick it at him, and it's at a bad angle, so it'll deflect off of you
and hopefully go
and
back.
hopefully somebody will get it." Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna start seeing new strategies with the onside kick because of the rule change. I just didn't see how much it was gonna affect until I witnessed it during one of our games.
Dude, if I'm a kicker, I'm practicing.
The drill kick.
I'm practicing it standing straight up, drilling somebody in the chest with that ball. Like, that's all you got to do.
Honestly.
Just kick it as hard as you can from here to here.
And, like, you have to almost knuckle it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you just got to punch the ball. Just,
yeah, dude, it's very interesting.
But another. So the Chargers win. The Rams won. The Giants got destroyed. The Cowboys lost. So
Texans won, but they're 4-3.
But Ryan, you had a good stat or a good little, I guess a stat because LA is not really getting any love. So
I called Dean today, and I hadn't told this to Brandon yet, but Los Angeles as a city right now is 12-2. They're with their teams. New York, their teams are 1-6 and 3-4. And then and in Dallas, another place where football is huge, they're 4-3 and 3-4. And the only thing that you see on ESPN right now is that, the Giants are doing a flash sale. The Cowboys are, struggling to figure out who their weapons are. The Texans, we don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. The Jets, they're overperforming expectations. And it's like, why is nobody talking about the fact that the Rams are 7-0? I mean, that's like... It's crazy to me. Like Dean brought up, Todd Gurley's on pace to beat LT's single season rushing record. Gosh. And you wouldn't know that by watching television. Nobody's talking about the Rams. Nobody's talking about the Chargers.
It seems like it's always like that, though.
There's no love for the West Coast, man.
Yeah, West Coast is shadowed by the East Coast, and
because if the Patriots are undefeated right now, that's the only thing that's going across the ticker tape on ESPN.
Yeah, it's like, what's their probability to win?
There's nothing wrong with not being in the limelight. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I just think
it puts less stress on the team. They probably can.
I agree.
Do better. I agree as a fan. I just mean from the standpoint of teams, and we're talking about two teams who are struggling in their new city. And they're performing, and we've talked about it for years. With if the Chargers would put out a winning, team, people would watch, and they're not. Same thing with the Rams. If you put out a winning team, people will watch. I mean, the Rams have won a Super Bowl in their history, and they still have
a difference between winning regular season games and having playoff success.
But even the Rams are still a Super Bowl champion team.
If you cover it on ESPN, if you get people excited, that city will become alive, and that city will support the team.
Yeah, certainly promoting the team.
And there's no promotion for it, so I thought when Ryan, you had told me that earlier, that was extremely interesting. I was like, that's a good point, because I'm not really paying attention to the Chargers. So
and even
I don't know
leaving the Chargers out of it, because we still don't. I mean, they're 5-2. They're obviously sitting in a better position than they ever have. But the Rams are 7-0.
I saw ESPN's power rankings. The Chargers are top 5, right?
Yeah, they're number 5. And Rams are number 1.
So.
Yeah.
And 2 in the top 5.
All you're hearing about is, Patrick Mahomes is, the best quarterback in football. And all you're hearing about is
he's a rookie sensation.
The Raiders are
or not a rookie sensation, but he's first year starting.
Absolutely, and I'm not taking anything away from those stories, but you would think you would be talking about the fact that the Rams have 3 potential MVP candidates on their team right now. Aaron Donald had 3 or 4 sacks last game. Gurley with another 3 touchdowns. Goff's been tearing it up. I mean, they potentially have 3 MVP candidates on one team.
Gurley would be the front runner for sure.
But
but at the same time, it's like the other 2 would still be in talks. It's the whole JD Martinez.
Probably going to get it. He's a front runner in my opinion right now.
Yeah, but it's the whole JD Martinez, Mookie Betts thing. Yeah. Obviously, we think one should get it over the other, but at the same time, they're both going to be in talks,
and they're going to be in the conversation. I mean,
certainly.
And I mean, obviously, it's a quarterback happy league, so Mahomes would probably get the nod from voters, but I think we're all in agreement that Gurley is deserving of it, because it's a quarterback's league, and he's turning it back into a running back.
I was just looking at his numbers, his game by game, and he's had 3 touchdowns more times this season than not.
Just keep giving me those fantasy points, baby.
Yeah, best draft pick ever. Probably the easiest decision you've ever made.
God, well, usually that number one pick doesn't stay number 1 pick the next year, and he's pretty much a shoo-in at this point to get it again next year.
Yeah, but just an interesting like food for thought for Los Angeles. You got to show them some love, man. I mean, there's two teams that are going to be trying to make headways in their new city and not getting any love from any media platform.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get some love. I mean, I know we're all a little hurt still from the Chargers, but I mean, the Rams need some love, man.
And even, I mean, if you listen to
so,
my...
I mean, not,
well,
but it's like they're undefeated, and there's no talks of them being an undefeated team. There's no talks of, like, what is their probability of going the full 16,
I would be very happy if they pulled off the undefeated season.
I mean, the way that it's...
And won it all.
I think that would be extremely interesting, but there's no talks of that.
And I'm not saying this is, like, going to happen, but right now it's a probability based off power rankings. What if there was a Los Angeles Chargers versus Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl? I feel like it would be the most unwatched Super Bowl in the history.
I mean, it would make sense.
It would definitely
it makes sense since Maroon 5's doing the halftime show.
God. Well, nobody wants to do it, apparently. Yeah, Rihanna turned it down, didn't she?
Yeah, that's what they said. Because the whole, kneeling thing or whatever. But who knows?
Whew. Nice catch. We're watching the World Series
right now.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger just made a nice dive at the
we also had the Texans game. Blake Bortles was benched for Cody Kessler this week. Gosh.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean,
we told Brandon we weren't going to give him a hard time about this
I'm not.
It's beating a dead horse.
That's not
beating a dead horse.
It's not that. I mean, Blake Bortles is performing, even worse than I thought he was going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Another 2 fumbles, so it's like 10 turnovers in 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on with the Jaguars, man.
He seems like he wants to run the ball too much. He's a run-first guy.
He doesn't have a great arm, so I get it. He looks like he should throw better than he does, but he doesn't have a good arm down the field. He's more of a dink and dunk, What I thought was not turn the ball over, and he's doing the one thing he's not supposed to do, and it's causing them to lose games. Like I said, they're 3-4.
They are missing probably their most important offensive weapon in Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
that definitely puts a little bit more stress, and he has
defense is looking bad though.
Well, I always think the defense is often a product of the offense. So, like if your offense is putting you in bad spots,
you're tired out there, but still, I mean,
they gave up 40-something points to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's not good.
But all right, we should pick it up here. We're like an hour in already. But yeah, the Bears looked good. I know we talked about how it was a close game against the Pats. Mitchell Trubisky. Don't sleep on the Bears, man.
He had a lot of rushing.
Well, you saw that one play. He scrambled. They did like the stat track or whatever. He scrambled for 60 yards on an 8-yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of running around,
making moves with his legs, but still, don't sleep on the Bears. Like we said, Khalil Mack's out there.
I think they're going to win that division, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks good. And then Sunday Night Football, we had the Bengals got beat down by the Cheifs. Dude, how do you lose? How does a Bengals offense that's supposed to be showing out and turning it around lose? Like get destroyed by one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
I think they were keying on AJ Green too much. AJ Green had like 14 targets in that game.
They have weapons, man. I mean,
they do, and that's what I mean. How do you get shut down?
Marvin Lewis is a terrible coach.
Tyler Boyd had 4 targets, and he's been like their number 2 guy.
Yeah,
and all their targets were going to, and they got that pick 6 on one of the targets to AJ Green.
I will say, I mean, as bad as the Chiefs' defense are, they're playing very good situational defense, meaning they're not giving up points when they're not supposed to be, and they're getting turnovers at opportune times. Obviously not a good defense, but they're playing well when they're supposed to.
Yeah, and I will say it was good to see Mahomes kind of bounce back after that loss.
Yeah.
It's always good to see a young guy like that shake it off and go back out there and have a game.
Absolutely. That offense is dominant, man. I mean, it's going to be a struggle for any team to slow them down. Again, I saw it with the Patriots when the Patriots and Chiefs played. There is a formula to slow down that offense, and nobody's using it. They're continuing to blitz Mahomes and allow one of these weapons to get wide open. I mean,
and he's too hard to blitz because he can move around with his legs.
Yeah, I mean, keep 8 back, man, and just make him make a decision because he's shown even this past week that's. In a situation where he has to think too much, he's made some pretty bad decisions, and all these coaches are still like, "Oh, we just got to blitz him, put pressure on him."
Can he make plays with his legs though, or?
He
Or you
can,
just
but I
have
would
him-
rather have
he can,
a
but that's
I'd
what,
rather
like
have a
3-yard
quarterback
gain?
running around a little
Yeah,
bit.
then letting him sling it all the way
But
around.
I'm more talking about like protecting forming a pocket and not allowing him to extend plays. I mean, the Patriots did a very good job of it in the first half of that game.
Yeah, that's true because Mahomes does not look comfortable in the pocket.
No,
He's always looking over his shoulder, trying to make a move. Doesn't have his eyes down the field.
yeah, and like I said, there's definitely a formula there. I'm just waiting for a team to catch on because I saw it, and I'm not a professional analyst. I just like to watch sports.
Well, your Chargers, you be playing them. Hopefully they can adopt and listen to what
maybe you
you're
got to
saying.
call into some radio.
Yeah, you need to go call in and say, listen to the Three Amigos podcast.
Call Dan Cilio.
Right? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, have Dan Cilio tune in.
Yeah. But the last primetime game, that Monday Night Football game, obviously the Giants are absolutely terrible. But Matt Ryan's having his best year, and it's just getting overshadowed by this horrible Falcons defense.
His MVP year was his best.
Well,
right?
he's outperforming that year, right?
Really? Yeah.
Mhm.
He's having that's what I mean. He's having such a good year, and it's so quiet because that defense is terrible,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they
and
can't
remember-
showcase his talent.
And remember, Tom Brady was out the first 4 games the year Matt Ryan won MVP, and Tom Brady did look like the MVP. that year.
I will say this: I approve his contributions to my fantasy team. He has done wonders for it.
Do you have Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
I saw you picked up Andrew Luck this week.
because Matt Ryan's going to be going on a bye pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Or I think he's on a bye this week.
Andrew Luck is just like
Well,
like the slut of our league. I had him for a little bit, dropped him.
well,
You
look-
have him for your
look
bye
at his
week.
numbers. He is just the team's awful, but he's a volume quarterback. And he's slinging the ball all
That's
the
the
way
only thing they got.
Yeah,
it's the only thing they got.
So he's
Exactly.
putting up decent fantasy numbers. If he's available, which I'm assuming most leagues he's not.
Yeah, well, let's get into our favorite segment, our fantasy versus reality. First up, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Todd Gurley's on pace to beat LT season record. By the end of the season, Todd Gurley breaks that record.
I think it's fantasy. Not because of the performance, but I think if this team stays as hot as they are, you're going to see some players getting rested towards the end of the year.
There's some truth to that, but I mean, that offense is just so hot. I have a hard time seeing them slow down. And if they are going for an undefeated season, they're not going to rest guys.
Ryan, I actually agree with you because I mentioned earlier, I have Todd Gurley on my fantasy team, and they're so far out in front, and they're gonna clinch so quickly in that
That's
division
true.
that they're gonna rest starters. They're not gonna play guys as heavily. They're gonna treat it almost like preseason, where it's like go out for your first quarter, look good, get back, get some rest.
Yeah, because everybody in their division is crap.
Yeah, so. I definitely think that it's fantasy that he's not going to break that record.
So
He's
how
gonna-
many does he have right now?
12.
12.
It's 33.
And 33 is a record.
So you have to get 34.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty tough.
And we're at
but
they're at halfway point right now.
that's certainly
So
going to be
30?
tough, but
I think 33 was the total touchdowns. I think 28 is the rushing touchdowns.
well, is that what we're looking at? Rushing
Yeah,
or total?
Rushing.
Oh, okay.
Rushing. So that's what I mean. He's
Okay,
on pace to beat it by like 2 or whatever it is because we're a week out from it being
He's
the
such a
halfway point.
multifaceted
But-
back, though. So, I mean, I look at him.
It'd have to be rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
rushing, I mean, I'd probably move back on my statement. But if we're talking total,
Yeah.
I think he could. He could top the total.
All right, and then like we mentioned, the NFL trade deadline is coming up next week. Have some trade predictions over here. Patrick Peterson is dealt to the Eagles. Brandon, you want to go first?
I am going to go reality. I think the Eagles are just they're looking pretty desperate. They just blew a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter to the Panthers, who are solid squad, pretty good team.
That was a great comeback, by the way.
But you can't blow a 17. I mean, you could blow a 17-point lead and it would be, respectably bad. But to blow a 17-point lead after you had them shut out
In the fourth quarter.
that's just there's no excuse for that. And for a team coming off a Super Bowl, I think they're going to be kind of desperate. So I think they're going to make a move, especially sounds like they're not going to be getting Le'Veon Bell or any of those other running backs that they were thinking about going after.
Well, Brandon, I'm going to have to agree with you.
Wow.
Oh,
This is new.
Alternative reasons, though.
I don't know what this feels like.
I don't know if the Cardinals will actually want to deal him, but I feel like the Eagles will probably give them an offer they can't refuse. And the reason is that division's so bad right now, and the Eagles aren't on top of it, and they should be. So I feel like they're gonna, feel the need to overspend to win that division. Because at the end of the day, if you go 8-8 and win your division, you still win your division. You still get a chance at the playoffs. And if he's gonna give them that edge, then why not? Draft picks. I know we've talked about them in the past as being, they're very valuable, but at the same time, if your team is in a position and has a bright future, you have the ability and the flexibility to get rid of some of those draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what you guys are thinking on this one, but I agree with all of you.
God.
Yeah.
It's
horrible.
This is different.
Yeah, this is different.
Maybe we should have screamed these a little better. No,
But yeah, I definitely think that the Eagles have a solid chance of taking that division, and they need to make this move to give themselves that best option. And I agree with you, Ryan, that the Eagles are going to give an offer that the Cardinals can't refuse.
I feel like a first rounder would be enough to get him. You don't think so?
No, I think yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
For a guy his age, he's obviously
in a franchise that's looking this bad right now. Even if it's a first rounder in 2020, I would take it.
That's maybe not for next year. Next year, either a late draft pick, 2 late draft picks in the next 2 years, or a first round pick. I think he'd be
2 late picks are not worth nothing, but. You're talking about like 7th rounder, 6th rounder? What do you mean?
No. I mean like
late first rounders?
A late, like a second rounder this year, and then something.
Oh, okay.
The next, consistently. Oh man! All right, so we'll take a little break here for a second.
Our boy Matt Kemp is gonna.
It's top 9th World Series Game 2. The Red Sox are leading the Dodgers 4-2. Kimbrel is in, and who's it? Matt
Kemp, former teammates on the Padres.
Matt Kemp is up to bat. 1-1 count right now. 2 outs, top 9. Let's see what's going to happen here. Kimbrel home. And Kemp grounds out to shortstop. So Boston has a 2-0 lead on that series. Dude, we said that the Dodgers were getting no love earlier, but we'll get into MLB after we finish these up. More trade rumors. Tyrod Taylor is traded to the Jaguars. Ryan, you want to take this one first?
I think it's fantasy. For the sole purpose that I think that they have confidence in Blake Bortles. I mean, they did the same thing last year where they benched him and he came back playing better. It's not a they're going to get Leonard Fournette back hopefully within the next couple weeks. Take some of the pressure off Blake Bortles. I just don't think that they're going to overpay for a quarterback right now.
I seriously, I don't think that. Yeah, I think it's fantasy as well. I think the Jaguars are going to sit pat with what they have, and they got all the way to the AFC Championship game last year with Blake Bortles. They've shown that they can win with him. I think they do need Fournette back pretty badly, and I think they're realizing that right now. You gotta. I think Blake Bortles is best as a game manager and not a guy you're resting your team on. And so, right now they've been kind of resting the team on him a little bit since he's been the focal point of their offense. So, certainly not a guy you'd want as the focal point of your offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go against you guys on this one. I think this one is reality with a asterisk on it. I think if the Browns move within the next 2 or 3 weeks, or the next 2 or 3 days, I think if they move quickly on this, they can kind of get Doug Marrone and the Jaguars organization to kind of take this bait of we'll give you Tyrod Taylor for something. I think that's
like a third round pick.
I feel like that's the approach that it has to be. It's not so much the Jaguars are out there looking for an option; it's the Browns have to present this to them. Mm-hmm. And then it'll be taken.
If you're the Browns, what are you asking for, though?
Probably looking at one of those wide receivers.
Oh, you're looking for a player, not a pick.
I think I'm gonna go player.
That's
okay. That's the way I'm looking at it.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
In Dean Latney's world.
In my world. Le'Veon Bell is traded to the Texans. Ryan?
That's fantasy.
Yeah, God.
Dean's dreaming over here.
Yeah. God. I can't believe this was even on the fantasy versus reality segment.
Hey, this is
For one-
this could be something.
This is a Dean Latney dream.
Okay, so for multiple reasons, I don't think that the Texans are going to stay at the top of that division for more than 2 more weeks. I think that they have a lot of question marks on the offensive side of the ball, especially with what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Their defense hasn't been producing as well as they should be. Obviously, they've had a good game against the Jaguars, who are, don't know who they are on offense either. I don't think that the Texans are going to be huge buyers at the deadline.
I am going to agree with Ryan. I think this is a fantasy. Le'Veon Bell is going to stay with the Steelers.
Oh,
that's my bold prediction.
Staying with them.
Long term?
No, at least this season.
Okay.
Well, you guys aren't big gamblers, but I've been dabbling a little bit, and
he's rolling the dice
Le'Veon Bell
on this one.
has a
An
plus
odds?
700 money line. So basically, there's a 700%, kind of like a 700% chance that he's going to go there. So
That's a huge line.
No, it's very low.
Oh,
That's
is
what I
it?
mean. There's a very low chance of him going there. So I think that this is fantasy as well. As much as I'd like to see Lamar Miller take a backseat role to Le'Veon Bell, I don't think it's going to happen. This last one, I don't really care to put in. I think it's kind of, I don't know, just because. But David Carr, the Raiders traded David Carr.
You mean Derek Carr?
Sorry, Derek Carr. Yeah, my man.
Are we talking about this year?
This year.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, if we were talking about possibly next year, I would say more of reality. But this year, it's definitely fantasy. He's one of their only players that's, long-term connected to that team. And you need a base going into Las Vegas.
I think that the teardown project's coming together a little too late in the season for you to trade your franchise quarterback. I would say it's definitely a fantasy. But like you said, off season I think is a different story. I just think it's crazy to think that you're going to trade your number one receiver in the same week that you're trading your quarterback. It seems like too much of a quick turner, like a quick fire sale.
Yeah, quick dump. I agree. I think this is fantasy. I think that maybe front office, upper management, David Carr or Derek Carr is the guy over there. And I think he's kind of an untouchable in a sense. So I think this is fantasy during season, off season as well. But like we said, we were watching a little bit of the World Series Game 2. Red Sox up 2-0 on the Dodgers in a 7-game series. Game 1 last night, Red Sox won 8-4 behind Chris Sale. I don't know. Did you guys watch that game at all?
A little bit. It was, honestly, the Red Sox are just overmatching the Dodgers right now. The Dodgers were...
Why are they showing this game right now?
Sorry, we're watching highlights of the Red Sox versus Yankees, and Dean's crying a little bit.
Dude, because this is Game 3 when they went 16-1. Like, this is stupid. Like,
it's hurt Dean's feelings.
Fuck this game, dude. This is the reason baseball's over for me.
Well,
sorry, Ryan.
No, you're fine. I think that the Dodgers are a little overmatched, and they already played their hand with Kershaw, and he's their pretty much only chance of beating the Red Sox. I mean, hopefully the Dodgers can squeak away a victory at home coming up, but I mean, we'll be lucky if this series goes 6 games.
I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I think the American League's so much more top heavy. I think you saw at the end of the season the power rankings, like the top 3 teams were all in the American League in the power rankings. And you look at the Dodgers, I mean, Dodgers had how many games less did they win than the Red Sox? It was like
almost 16 or something like that.
That's an insane amount. So that's the difference between the Padres winning and making the playoffs and not making the playoffs.
That's a massive difference.
Yeah, it's a
huge difference.
And especially when you think about the lack of talent in the National League this year.
Mm-hmm. And so you look at my prediction was whoever was winning that Red Sox-Yankee series was taking the whole thing.
And yeah, that's
it sounds like it's going to be what's going to happen.
Yeah, that first game though, man, I swear it felt like I was watching hockey out there. the Dodgers were just making line changes. I felt like Dave Roberts every inning was switching out
He was
3 or 4 guys.
overmanaging the game.
He used his whole entire
And Baez is
not
pitching
his
well,
bullpen,
wasn't he?
but his dugout. He used an
Yeah.
entire dugout, dude. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to say, but I don't feel like Dave Roberts is going to have a job after this year.
I don't think so either. That's reality.
Well, so I didn't actually see all the game. I was had the game on. And I was kind of doing some things around the house when the game was on. But so apparently there was they were shifting or something like that, and they fielded the ball poorly defensively. Or
There was a lot of defensive mistakes yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like a team that's playing for a World Series.
My boss came in. He's a Dodgers fan. He was just cursing the world. He's like, I hate the shift. It's the worst thing ever for baseball. And I'm like,
Oh, you mean the shift, not them shifting players around. You mean an actual
defensive shift.
defensive shift.
And the Red Sox were beating it the whole game or something like that.
Well, there was one bunt and then one kind of like Ichiro swing, where you just kind of like lay it out that way.
Yeah.
And so I mean, some
Good.
people always
need to
like
do that more.
people complain about that, but I'm a fan of that. If you're gonna play the shift, I'm gonna play the only hand I
Absolutely,
have.
man.
I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do it, like if you can lay one down like that,
Absolutely,
hats off
why not?
to you.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a couple of those kind of plays and a lot of plays up the line. I mean, both walls in Boston are so close, and they're so close to the stands that everything comes right up those lines. And is it fair? Is it not? You're trying to judge the ball, play it off the wall, so it makes it
old
hard.
school park.
It is. It's like
It's the oldest ballpark.
it's like Wrigley Field. Those lines were so close too.
Mm-hmm.
But NBA started off last week. Brandon's Clippers have been helping me out a little bit, making me some money every now and then.
They helped you out once, and they
We'll
let you
talk
down
about
last night.
Yeah.
Dan's gambling
But
problem.
I mean,
It's not a
do
problem.
we want to talk
yet.
Clippers or do we want to talk Rondo, CP3?
I don't
So
wanna talk
I'm
about
kind of
Rondo.
over that. I mean, it's
I don't
blown
wanna
up
talk
the
about
entire
It has blown up, but
It's so unnecessary.
It's gotten so it's out there, and everyone's now talking shit about how CP3 is a terrible teammate, and he spit on him, and I mean the slow mo cameras, everything's in like HD now. I didn't see any
see
sort of
spit on him
spit.
either.
I didn't see anything, and it just looked like he tried to poke him in the eye. Like that's not a good move. Push him if he spit on you.
So
no.
Rondo had like a light spit. You could see it. They like slow mode it, and you could see a little bit of it. But I mean, for you to retaliate and like poke, it looked like he was pissed off and he was trying to push him, but he like pushed him with his finger right in his face.
Yeah,
and
CP3 just looks like a little bitch.
well,
I don't know about you guys, but if somebody spits on me, like I'm not gonna poke them.
Yeah.
dude, I would shove him.
That's what I mean. I'd shove them. I'd
And-
go after. I'd be a
and
lot more
then-
pissed than being like, "What the heck?" and poke him
the
in
whole
the
thing
forehead.
just looks stupid, though. I mean,
It's
honestly.
a bad look for the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, and
If anything, it's a good look for the NBA. People like that stuff.
I mean,
It draws,
I will say
draws
this.
people that don't watch the NBA to.
I will say
pay
this: the
attention.
league is very soft and it's very easy to draw a foul nowadays.
Yeah,
And
but Brandon, get into your Clippers a little bit, man.
yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Clippers. I mean, they've played really great so far to start this year. I mean, offensively, it looks like their guard play has been pretty poor from the offensive perspective, but defensively, I think you're looking at the best defensive backcourt in the NBA. Avery Bradley and Patrick Beverly been killing it, and it's shown. I mean, they've played 3 of the top offenses in the league, and they're still ranked in the top 4 in points against at the start of the season. So I know the Pelicans were averaging, I want to say 130 or 140 points going into the game yesterday. Clippers stifled them to 116, which sounds insane
I
nowadays.
can't believe. How's your average 140? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 140. They smoked the Houston Rockets like in Houston by like 30 points almost.
Dude, that's ridiculous. 140 points is your average?
I will say this. They did a great job drawing fouls against the Clippers. They shot 40 free throws yesterday against the Clippers.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and that
Was that a record?
That was the difference between winning and losing the game, was how many free throws they got to shoot.
Dude, that had to be a record,
And,
right? 43 free throws?
That's I'm sure there's been a game more, but
That sounds
yeah,
ridiculous.
I mean the refs are definitely a little bit more trigger happy with the whistles. the Clippers do play a more physical brand of basketball, so if you want to get a little whistle happy, it would come at the expense of the Clippers.
Yeah. I think the other fun stat to bring up is the Cavaliers are 0-4 and just got their ass kicked by the Brooklyn Nets.
Ooh.
I mean, from a team that you're looking at that we,
The Nets have some good pieces, though, to be honest. I mean, I don't think... I know we were talking about this last week. I don't think the Cavs are that great of a squad right now.
well, they're looking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, the start of the season is always the best part because everybody's playing really hard. I really think the Pelicans look like a top 4 team out west right now. And going into the offseason, I did not like the moves that they've made. But Julius Randle looks like he can shoot for once. He plays really physical, which is something they need because they have Anthony Davis down there he's one of the most skilled. He's my pick for MVP this year, but he looks like one of those guys who could get injured pretty easily because he's shown in his past.
Yeah.
And then you also have Mirotic, who's averaging 30 points. I think you look at Anthony Davis, he's averaging over 30 points. He's averaging over 12 rebounds, and he's averaging 2.5 steals, 2.5 blocks per game, and like 7 assists up to this point in the season. So it's like an insane average right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he torched the Clippers yesterday, so hats off to him, and they're looking like the team to beat right now, them and the Nuggets right now. But it's going to be Golden State at the end of the year, to be honest. But the Nuggets knocked off Golden State.
Yeah.
I mean,
Still early in the year. Lots of basketball left to play.
And Golden State hasn't quite gelled yet. And, yeah, like you said. So,
all right,
always
Brandon,
exciting.
We let you have your fun. We let you talk about basketball a little bit. Ryan, why don't you give us our stat of the day?
Stat of the day, stat of the day, dabba-doo-ba-doo, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day. Bop.
All right. This is a fun little multi-sport stat today, guys. 2 days out of the 365 days a year feature no professional sports games. 2 days out of the entire calendar year. That is the day before and the day after the All-Star break.
Which All-Star break?
MLB, I'm sorry. Major League Baseball All-Star break. There's no sports on.
So what, that's sometime in June?
July.
July?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Huh.
That's crazy.
Only 2 days out of the entire year there's no sports on.
I feel like I've never noticed that, though. It's weird.
I'm surprised it's not like some kind of, like, if anything, that would make sense for that day to be Valentine's Day.
And that's major sports, too. So we're looking at MLB,
the Big Four?
NBA, NHL, and NFL.
Yeah.
It's like the Big Four, yeah.
And 5.
Oh, wait.
5.
Tennis isn't included in that?
Yeah.
I'm a big tennis
So
guy.
you got hockey, you got soccer, right?
No.
Baseball,
Basketball,
hockey, football.
That's Big Four.
4, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not like one of those days should be Valentine's Day.
God.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the day that, like, the women can have their day.
Like,
Sorry,
right.
not to be sexist. There's a lot of women that like sports. I'm just saying, like,
Well,
should be like girlfriend's day.
I know my girlfriend doesn't like when I'm, checking my phone every 5 seconds to see what the score is in the game. So,
because what are you doing over there?
it's like, well, because I want to see the game, but I have to
gotta
spend time with you.
Gotta check fantasy. Dude, I hope Dama never makes it this far in one of our podcasts. Oh, man. Well, man, that's really interesting. I guess I never really thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because the MLB, the MLB season goes on for a really long time. The playoffs are a very short, tight window. The All-Star break is a very short, tight window where they have, the futures game, home run derby.
Well, you have
all
like
those kind of things
between hockey and baseball and basketball. It seems like it would be covered. I mean, football, there's only 16 games, so it's not like there's like a whole bunch of time that it's covering. But which is one of the things that makes football so amazing is each second so important in football. But
yeah, every second counts.
Yeah,
but man, Ryan, that was good.
Yeah,
guys,
that was.
appreciate it.
I'll be thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, we were the Three Amigos and a Podcast. Again, you can listen to us on literally anywhere you can listen to podcasts. I had some fun. I Googled us. this week, like earlier this week, and I just went through to see, you know, what kind of websites saw where we were, and there was one site that was still picking up our old RSS feed, so I sent them an email, and they updated it. So if you listen to podcasts on TuneIn, we're on TuneIn now, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Google Play Music, literally anywhere.
I used to use TuneIn back in the day. That's where I'd watch or listen to all the college basketball games.
Yeah, so TuneIn now has our updated feed, so they're going to start cranking that out. I thought that was really cool. And then it was really interesting just to Google us and see where we were. There was just random, you know, podcast sites that just had us. I was like, man, that's really cool.
Nice.
Obviously, I mean, we were like page 2 on Google, but still.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
we're getting big slowly.
Send us an email, 3amigosandapodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website, 3amigosandapodcast.wordpress.com. Episode 20. This was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Later.